So I'm coming to you from the barn today. Had to take a little shelter because it had started to rain. It's kind of fading off now. It's barely even drizzling, but decided I'll just do the video from the barn today. So today, talking about discipline and how there are times where God punishes us so that way He can try and direct us back to the path that we're supposed to be on. I know it's difficult for me sometimes to stay on the path that He wants me to, but there are things that He puts in place to help me from straying. So today, I've got a story to go along with that. At work, we had a dog come in. We knew him. He's somewhat aggressive, but I don't remember him being horrible or really, really aggressive to where we could not put our hands on him, which we do have some dogs that we see that are like that. They have to be tranquilized with ACE or something of that nature. So dog comes in, and James and Alexis are newer people. Alexis the newest, and James our only male co-worker actually, other than the doctors, and he's an assistant as well. Went in to hold this dog for the doctor. I was back in the back because we were cleaning for Monday. We have to clean all of our supplies and all of our things that we'll need for our surgeries on Monday. So I was cleaning, and all of a sudden Alexis comes barging into the back. She's like, we need you, we need you, we need you. And I was like, okay, I need you to calm down and relax because I don't want you transferring that built up energy and just being nervous to him. Believe it or not, animals can sense that. Now, me working with horses, I'm used to having to be gruff and asserting what I want them to do. Now, it is the same way with any animal, really, especially with dogs and horses. It's a thing that it respect, and they know that they're not supposed to do something, and they still do it anyway, and they get reprimand or punishment. So we had this dog. They had actually been able to get the muzzle on him. Now, the only problem with the muzzle they had on this dog is that the muzzles we have are open at the mouth, at the front of the mouth. Now, it slides over the nose, but the mouth is still open so they can continue breathing. We don't have basket muzzles, which I wish our doctor would get because they are more helpful, and it allows the dog to breathe a lot better. Anyway. So they had accidentally put a muzzle that was a little bit too large so he could still open his mouth about this much, which is still enough to get your flesh and pinch it or tear it. And it is very painful. Now, we get him on the table, and the doctor is about to start his examination, and the dog totally loses it. Starts screaming and snarling and snapping, and then he starts peeing. Hoping for us to let go. At this point, he starts to gator roll and starts to kick us, and he is snapping the whole time, just being really aggressive. And the owner couldn't be in the room because we're doing a curbside only. So the owner is standing outside of the room, and she basically told us, do whatever you have to get his vaccines into him and get the test, which is a heartworm test, is where we have to draw blood from one of the front legs. So she's watching this whole time, and the pet is acting a total idiot and being aggressive. So I tell him, just take him down, put him on the ground, put him on the floor, let him breathe for a second, relax. Well, we put him on the floor, and James went to grab for his collar, and the dog turned to bite him. Now, with that open muzzle at the end, I knew if he got a hold of James, it was going to be pretty bad damage, enough to where he would have to go to the hospital for stitches. And me I focused, I reached out, and I grabbed hold of the dog's scruff, and I shook him some, and I said, no! And working with horses, that's just how I've always been. I've always been told to be assertive and tell them what you want, but to also be patient with them. Now, with this dog, he knew better because the owner was standing outside just shaking her head and looking at him angrily. So the owner understood And for those of you saying, oh my gosh, you grabbed the scruff of the neck, that must have been painful for him. It's not. If you've ever seen a wolf have another wolf submit, they grab them by the neck and pin them. So before you come at me with, oh my gosh, you're hurting the dog. No, I'm not. Because trust me, he would have let me know if I was hurting him. But it was enough to grab his attention. Well, he decided to headbutt me, which was fine. That happens sometimes. We have dogs that react and they'll throw their head a little bit. So he headbutted me, and then he started to kick at James again. He got turned around and he cut him up pretty bad to where we had to bandage him up afterwards just to make sure that he wouldn't bleed everywhere. Poor James. He's got some new scars to add to the collection that he has from previous pets. And we finally just had to basically lay and sit on top of this dog. It kind of reminded me of Seaver when he would catch crocodiles, and he would just have his whole team like jump on this alligator or crocodile, and that's how we had to subdue this dog, because he was going to either hurt himself or hurt one of us, or both. So we held him down, and Doc did everything he needed to do, and he let him up. And the owner, when we got him out there, the owner couldn't understand. She was like, I've never seen him act that way. Well, we were looking back in the chart, and apparently this dog is supposed to be on acepromazine 2 hours prior to coming into the clinic, which is a sedative to help him relax so we can actually do our job. Well, the owner had forgotten about it, said, oh, I totally just went out the window, I didn't think about it. But we got everything done. But she reprimanded him when he got outside. And it wasn't anything, she just kind of swatted him just a little bit, because he did act out towards another person out in the parking lot, and she swatted him for that, and he finally straightened up, and they got him back in the car and everything. But it's kind of like the Bible verse that you spare the rod and you spoil the child. Same thing goes for pets, and for animals, really. You spoil the pet and they will take it and run with it because they know they're not going to get discipline from it. But anyway, so basically, God, I don't like to have to punish pets. I don't like punishing my own pets, but it's needed, and I have to do that in order to keep myself safe and other people safe. So God does that the same way. He does it to protect us and to keep us on the path that we need to be. I know that when I was younger, he did that a lot with me. There were times where I was like, why is he punishing me? Why? And then I realized it was because of these stupid things as a teenager that I was doing, and he was trying to direct me away from like certain people that I was hanging out with, and he would punish me. Like it's hard to describe of how I just knew. I knew that I shouldn't be hanging around with those types of people, but I did anyway. And I was being punished. And I finally, once high school kind of ended, I stayed friends with a lot of the ones that I was already still friends with. And I noticed that a lot of people that got in trouble and things like that, we kind of drifted apart. And I noticed that some of the things that I was like, why is he punishing me for this? Once I let them go as friends, because I realized that they were a bad influence and they weren't doing the right things in life, it opened another door for me. And God was telling me, you need to cut those people out of your life, because they're not good for you. They're not good for your mental health. They're not good for you, period. I know a couple of friends that unfortunately were addicted to drugs, and unfortunately I've had friends pass from overdosing, and it was really hard to get that message or get that call of, hey, did you hear so-and-so has passed away, overdose, or had a friend who died in a car crash from drinking and driving. He was a big alcoholic. His father was too. And I know that God was just trying to keep me away from them because he knew that they were a bad influence and that if I kept hanging around with them, I was going to get hurt. He, I think, really did protect me from a lot of that by basically disciplining me, telling me, look, if you keep doing this, your life is going to keep like this, and I'm going to keep punishing you until you finally do the right thing. And once I let those friends go and I started listening to him more and his teachings, then I realized how negative my life really was with those people in it. And I do love them, and I have tried to reach out to some of them and talk to them, but some of them just don't want to talk. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen. But and keep trying, because by the grace of God, anything is possible with Jesus. So hopefully I can get a hold of those people and turn their life around for the better and lead them to him. But it's getting late. It's about to get dark, and I've still got to walk down to the house and hope I don't step on a snake. So pray for me on that. But other than that, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. Basically, God punishes us and tries to keep us on the straight and narrow, and he punishes us for a reason. No punishment comes without reason. He's doing it for a reason, and he doesn't enjoy it, but sometimes we have to learn the hard way, and he keeps punishing us until we figure it out and it clicks, and it's like, oh, that's not what you want me to do. I'm sorry, and come back to him. But I think I'm going to end it there. Basically, just he is very merciful, very merciful. And all you have to do, like I've said in my previous videos, is ask for forgiveness. Know that he's the one true Savior. Know that he is the only way to heaven. And ask him to come into your heart and cleanse it and to save you, because he is the only way to be saved, is through him. But that's where I'm going to leave it tonight. Good night.